Well, hello. Good morning, I guess. It just rolled over to Friday morning. Technical issues, so anyone joining in, I appreciate you guys bearing with us, but I'm Andrew Dukowitz from Zone Coverage. This is the Missing Wolves post-game live stream podcast thing, and today we bring in the big ones for Oklahoma City. Phil Mackey from Skor North. How's it going, man?
What is happening, Andrew? We were just talking off microphone here that on one hand, any win over Oklahoma City is a good one. They didn't have their full allotment of players, and also at least half the guys in Timberwolves uniforms are going to be scattered throughout other NBA teams when Giannis comes to town next week. So hard to know what to make of that game tonight.
Yeah, this was probably the most Wolvesian 3-game winning streak after a 5-game losing streak that you could probably imagine. And it seems only fitting that they would capitalize it with a win over Oklahoma City on the same day Giannis leaks out to Windy that he wants to come to Minnesota. I mean, it's just Minnesota sports at this point, right?
And then, woven kind of within that, you've got, and these players are obviously online and plugged in and probably see their names up and down the different reports. And like, you can do the math that, okay, so Giannis makes like whatever it is, $55 million. And okay, well, that would mean that like, well, I make 30. I'm Julius. I make 30. So I'm probably gone in that trade. And Jaden's like, well, if they're going to send him and they need to get to 55, I make 25. I'm probably gone. We better play our asses off tonight on this prime nationally telecast game. If I could bring a conspiracy theory Phil here to the table, it felt like a bunch of guys that wanted to show the front office, how dare you float us in trade talks for Giannis or anybody a handful of days before the deadline, especially Jaden. I've been calling him Diet Kawhi Leonard for the last 6 years, and that dude. What's interesting about him is he's never had the chance on this Timberwolves team to be like the second guy. And I'm not even saying that he would be the second guy on a team that aspires to win a championship. I think that's like to be determined still for him. But I want him as a Timberwolf, and I don't know if there'd be a way for you to hold on to him and complete a blockbuster of that magnitude. But I'm also kind of curious with the Wolves or somebody else, what would Jaden look like if he were given the shot volume of a number two? I mean, he's one of the most efficient offensive players in the league when he cranks it up. And tonight was another example, like 21 points on 11 shots, 5 for 5 from 3. He's become one of the better 3-point shooters in the league, in addition to being a great mid-range scorer for years and years, and he converts at the rim at a high level too. So it's fun to watch him click the way he was tonight.
I mean, shooting, he has a better 3-point percentage than Ant at this point. Like, it's
crazy.
He's an actual, like, I wouldn't say volume 3-point shooter, but like he can actually go out there and just hit threes. 5 of 5 probably not going to happen, but like 2 of 5. I think the weird thing with Jaden, and I've said this a couple times on the pod, is like his biggest weakness is that he doesn't just take things. He doesn't like just take the opportunities. He's kind of passive. If he misses his first couple shots, you can kind of tell the wheels start turning a little bit. Like if Jaden was just on a bad team shooting 20 shots a game, like it would be like Jeremy Grant when he got traded to the Pistons. Like that guy's gonna score 20. And that's the weirdest part with Jaden is they kind of need him to score 20 on this team, but he just kind of doesn't a lot. I mean, tonight though, I mean, 5 of 5 from 3. He holds Shea to 30 points, which like holds Shea to 30 points is probably, it is what it is, but forces 5 turnovers. Shea only shoots 5 free throws. Jaden was guarding him all night. Like you're 100% on with the Diet Kawhi. Like he's taking that path.
Yeah, Kawhi got to peak Kawhi form earlier than, because I don't think Jaden has gotten to peak Jaden form yet.
No,
there's still like, I don't know, 25% left, 30% left. And it remains to be seen if he grows into it. Kawhi kind of got there in about year 4. By year 4, you're like, oh yeah, that's okay. That's one of the 6 best players in the NBA, and Jaden would not be in that category. But But on nights like
Jaden
tonight, you can definitely see flashes.
Jaden's growing like how normal human being NBA players grow, right? Like year 4, he starts showing you like, okay, this guy's an all defensive team caliber guy. He can score around the rim. Year 6, it's his 3-point shot's really good. He has this weird paint jumper game. Like the next one will be like year 8 when he's 27, 28 years old. That'll be the next, like, okay, he might be a borderline all-star type of guy. I think, I mean, we might as well just get into the Giannis of it all because that's kind of the news that came out today. But the frustrating part is we might not be able to see that. Like if Giannis is on the table, you trade everyone, right?
I mean, yeah, I guess that's probably the biggest question is, well, there's like 3 huge questions off of this. Number one being if it's like Wolves, Knicks have been kind of stockpiling and keeping their options open. And there's a story that Karl Anthony Towns is kind of pissed off that his name keeps kind of floating in these discussions too. The Heat have been talked about, but like where would the Timberwolves fall in terms of capital that's valuable enough to land Giannis either directly with the Bucks or routing some of your value to other places and then getting the Bucks what they want, whether it's more first round picks or whatever it is. And we started talking about the possibility of this trade on Flagrant Howls in the summer as kind of a fun, well, look at that. Shams is doing some work on behalf of Giannis's agency by floating this little test balloon. And what would that look like in theory if it was the Timberwolves? And it's kind of laughed off like, oh, you guys are just filling a summer episode with reckless speculation. But my point then, and it remains the same, maybe even more so 6 months later, is if you think the Wolves don't have the assets to pull a trade like that just because they don't have all of the first round picks directly to trade, then how would you reconcile this team going to back-to-back Western Conference finals with apparently such a weak roster and weak assets? I mean, how if their roster is so devoid of assets and they still went to the Western Conference Finals in back-to-back seasons, what does that say about Anthony Edwards carrying this deadbeat team, right? That's not the case, though. They've got some young assets. They've got guys like Rudy and Julius, and if they needed to, Naz Reid and Jaden McDaniels, that all of them are worth varying degrees of draft capital. And the question would be, how much of that could you hang on to put something around Anthony Edwards and Giannis versus gutting everything? And then I think, Andrew, the other big question you have to ask after a night like tonight, and I saw one of the comments in here from Sideline Vibe Show, we're 2-1 against the Thunder this year. We don't need a sellout trade. And that is a legitimate debate, too. Like, how close are the Timberwolves, who played the Thunder in the Western Conference Finals last year, if they were to stay the course with this nucleus, for sure throughout this season, then we can like reset it in the summer, and they make a marginal trade before the deadline next week, maybe it's, these Bulls rumors continue to fly out, left and right. Let's say it's like Dillingham and something else. Maybe you have to get rid of Conley's contract in that deal, but you're getting back Io or Kobe White. If you add another piece, another scorer off the bench, does that fill the gap between you and Oklahoma City in a 7-game series, or have you already maxed out how far you're going to go with a Julius Randle, Rudy Gobert nucleus next to Anthony Edwards? And these are huge questions for Tim Connolly and Matt Lloyd and company and Chris Finch to have to figure out in the next 4 days or 5 days or whatever the timeline is. Or maybe they just wait till the summer and reevaluate. Maybe this thing spills over into June and July.
That's kind of my most likely scenario is if you're the Bucks, the trade packages you're getting now are not going to be awesome. Like it's Tyler Hero, Jaime Jaquez, like Nikola Jovic. Like the Heat can't offer a ton. Like even in terms of picks, they can't really offer a ton. New York can give you Cat, but like if you're Milwaukee, that doesn't really get you out of the awful cap situation you're in. And your second best player is Bobby Portis. It's not a good thing for any team. And it's impressive that Giannis has been able to carry this team the way he has. like if I'm the Bucks, I'm sitting here like I'll just wait until the offseason when people's picks open up, which this offseason, Minnesota's 2032 swap rights become available, 2033 first rounders on the table, 2026 first rounder they can trade as soon as they draft someone. They have like 14 second round picks. You still have Rob, you still have Johan, you still have Clark, TJ, like nothing's going to change, right? So it's like it comes down to like if the Wolves want to make a run at it this year, if they feel like, hey, we're not confident this team can get the goods done, right? Like we want to make this Giannis trade now to give Ant one more extra chance at it. Which, I mean, my pushback would be like Ant, Giannis, and like the semblance of an NBA team probably isn't beating Oklahoma City. I saw Pack Mentality bring up the power of friendship FC that this team has going on right now. Like that is kind of this team's like superpower, I guess. Like everyone understands how to play with Rudy. Like Rudy is a much better player because people are passing him the ball now. Like Julius has like turned into this kind of, value brand LeBron James type of hybrid where he's making a lot of plays. He's bringing the ball up. Dante is
LeBron.
Yeah. Like Dante is settled in. And then Ant, Jaden, and Nas, like, I think there's a lot of like cynicism of like, are these guys actually friends outside of the basketball court? Like they are like legitimate, like friends outside of the basketball court. Like they do things together. Jaden and Nas stay the summer here every year and do workouts and pro-ams all summer. Like it would be tough, I think, if you're Tim Conley of saying like, do I want to break up the cohesion of this group to get 3 years of peak Giannis, or do I want to just see what they will develop into? Which that to me is the biggest question, is like, you're not getting 7 years of Giannis. Like he's in his mid 30s with foot and ankle and lower back injuries. Like you're probably just getting 3 years of them, and then all of your assets are gone, which I'd say I'm more of like a cautious person when it comes to like that stuff. So I would be pretty against it, but then it's Giannis, right? Like if you're talking yourself out of Giannis, you might be on the wrong side of this one. I mean, what do you think about it though? Like if push came to shove and it is like Jaden, Nas, and Julius are all going out, but you're getting Giannis in, like, do you think breaking this team up that way is worth it? Or do you think it's a little Cole says the West is too treacherous not to make a trade for Giannis. Nice choice in wording. But like, do you feel like it would be worth it to make that kind of bet on the next 3 years?
Well, I want to come back to the Tim Conley mindset thing. We're going to put if I could use a cliche, put a pin in that one, and we'll circle back here. So put a mental pin in Tim Conley mindset. But you listed Nas, Jaden, and Julius, for example. And I think part of the conundrum here is if you trade for Giannis, there's almost no way you can also keep Rudy Gobert, because I don't think you can play Rudy Gobert and Giannis on the court for extended stretches together. When Giannis won that championship in Milwaukee, it wasn't like it was Giannis and then like another sort of rim protecting big that can't. It was Brook Lopez, who shoots 40% from three and can stand in the corner and stretch. And right now, Milwaukee is not good and is just in the dumps. But they've tried to recreate that formula with Miles Turner as a stretch big. So I think if and this is just one of the many moving parts to this hypothetical trade, if you're going to trade for Giannis, you have to trade Rudy. But if another team doesn't see Rudy as the valuable piece that gets it done, and they're more looking at, Julius would have to go almost certainly too, I think. I would love to hang on to either Jaden or Nas. My favorite iteration of all the different, Wolves fans and Wolves Twitter have been so much fun with the trade machine ideas, and some of them are just, crazy. But I give a shout out to Tim Garrison. This is the best one that I've seen in the last 48
awesome,
hours.
By the way,
Friend of the pod. He loved Tim. He's a wizard with the trade machine. Awesome guy. And I gave him love for this on Flagrant Howls this week too. I'm not going to give you the entire trade because it would just take the rest of the podcast. But it's a 4-team trade And I think it's the Fanspo trade machine. And there's a couple little details with like draft picks that like they have the 2032 pick swap unlocked now, but I believe you said it technically doesn't unlock until like after the draft. So there's a couple of things like that. But
Yeah.
it's a 4-team trade. The Wolves would get Giannis and Miles Turner from the Bucks. So just bring them both over. You got your front court there. That's your new front court. And you got your stretch in Miles Turner, who can also block some shots. You got Giannis, and you go. And then Colin Sexton coming over as a rental as part of the 4-team trade. And then like one of Giannis's brothers to, I don't know, make him feel a little bit closer to home or something. And the Wolves would give up Rudy Gobert, routing him to the Hornets, who have some really interesting offensive pieces, and they're within shouting distance of like playing in the Eastern Conference play-in. So give them that defensive backbone to make them relevant for the first time in however many years. Julius Randle routes to the Bulls, who have a surplus of guards and could use some front court help and what have you. Jaden goes to the Bucks. And then you're also giving up Dillingham and Leonard Miller 7 second-round picks. He routes in here because you got a bajillion. Just throw them out there, and then a couple first-round pick swaps. But from the other teams, the Bucks would wind up with 4 additional first-round picks, the 7 second-round picks from the Timberwolves, and Jaden McDaniels as the centerpiece, current player, active player going over to Milwaukee, and then some like contract fillers to help get to the 55 million, or actually it'd be more like, because what's Miles Turner, 25, 30? I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, so it'd be like 85 million you'd have to, but also like the Bucks, I think they're just hard capped, so they don't, I think it's just 75% you have to get to of the value of like your outgoing. So yeah, I mean that's
and those the contracts match almost identically. The Julius, or would it be be Julius plus Jaden essentially, or Gobert plus Jaden, whatever the math is. Essentially match Giannis's contract right there, and then you get to kind of figure out the other pieces. But
yeah, I think that's, and I tweeted out like a trade that, again, like no one understands how the picks works, myself included. Like I learn things all the time about how draft picks get relegated and moved out, but like my kind of pipe dream was like get in Atlanta involved and try and get Shea.
Yeah.
Kind of sent over to Milwaukee, give Porzingis over there to match salaries. And then from the Wolves, it's like Nas, Johan, Rob, TJ, and like every second that they have. And then it's like if you're the Bucks, you're getting Nas Reed, Shea, Rob, Johan, TJ. Like you're getting a bunch of young guys that I guess could fill the cabinet. Atlanta needs a Julius, like Porzingis and Shea just have not been good power forwards. Like there's ways to kind of make it work, but then every time I try and make it work, the thing that comes back into my head is like, Milwaukee can just wait until the offseason and then get 37 first-round picks from Oklahoma City and like Jalen Williams. And then it's just.
But if Milwaukee, like if I'm Milwaukee and I could come out of this thing with, I think Jaden would have to go in this trade. Because
Jaden would be the one they ask for.
Yeah. And then you'd have to figure out, is there any possible way to make that trade happen? And hey, like a few years ago, Utah was adamant, apparently, even though that trade was percolating completely underneath the radar of all the Wojs at the time. And the Wolves drew a line and said, we'd rather give up more first-round picks than Jaden McDaniels. And, well, now they don't have, like, they can't do that now because they don't have access to all those first-round picks. But if I'm the Bucks and I could come out of this with Jaden McDaniels and then, like, a small handful of other teams' first-round picks and like a Dillingham and some second-round picks, that's a pretty big haul, man. Like that's a lot more than the Wolves got for Kevin Garnett back in 2007, 2008.
Shout out Ricky Davis. Yeah, I think it's ultimately going to come down to kind of like with Kevin Durant last year, right? Like KD mentioned he wanted to go to Minnesota, and it's like, well, how ugly do you want to make it? Because if in this league, superstars go to the teams they want to go to. If Giannis wants to come to Minnesota and he makes it ugly enough, or Ant starts, behind the scenes saying things like to what Cole's asking of just like, would we have to trade Jaden? Like, yeah,
I would say
probably.
likely yes. Yeah.
It unless you can get a third team in that's sending Milwaukee like a absolute starter that's in his mid-20s, like I don't know how you'd get away from it without sending Jaden. And sideline vibes, brings up Giannis is a guy you build a team around, not a second fiddle. Doesn't work. I think that's kind of like the Luka LeBron thing, or the LeBron Kyrie thing, or the LeBron Dwayne Wade thing, or the anything with LeBron. Like, Giannis is such a talent that I think he would be fine kind of relinquishing some of the ball handling stuff. Giannis is also a guy that'll like actually back cut. I mean, he does it pretty frequently actually, which is something this team does not have. Like, I do think they would fit pretty well together. It's just, you trade for a mid-season. Can you get guys to blend that fast? That's going to be a difficult thing to see.
Yeah.
And like, Giannis is out for 6 to 8 weeks. Like, if you trade for him tomorrow, he's probably not back until mid-March. Like, you're probably trading for Giannis now because you can get him a little cheaper. And then it's just like a punt on this season. If it works out, Shea twists his ankle, something weird happens. You have 2 of the 7 best players in the league. Like, that's not a bad thing, but it would be a weird trade mid-season. I mean, I can't even think of a player like Giannis's talent getting traded mid-year. Can you?
I mean, Luka last year.
There you go.
I mean, Luka. I mean, yeah, it's. I mean, that's the crazy thing about the NBA now is it's like you concoct these wild scenarios in your head, and they're not even enough to match reality. And to your point about making the trade mid-season and it being kind of I agree, it would probably be a punt in terms of winning the championship, because to glue all of that together on the fly and still run into an Oklahoma City, or I mean even San Antonio in the leap that they've taken, and Denver if Aaron Gordon comes back from the hamstring injury at 100% at some point. It would be hard to see putting this together on the fly and then like rolling through all of those teams, or even 2 of those teams in the Western Conference bracket. But if making the trade, so ideally maybe Tim Conley would say, can we do this in the summer? We'd love to see how far we can get with this current collection and then talk in the summer. But the Bucks and Giannis might say, hey, if you wait till the summer, we might actually just have a deal with the Knicks or the Heat ready to rock right now. And then so you'd be doing it in part to cut off the other teams from being able to jump in line. And just to go back to the Tim Connelly mindset thing, and you talked about the team chemistry and the cohesion and how also these guys know how to play around Rudy. And although if you traded for Giannis, I just don't think that would matter because I think Rudy would be gone. Yeah. Tim Connelly doesn't care about any of that stuff. And he has shown it. He's shown it 3 different times since he took this job, the willingness to blow up a pretty good thing. And then the initial reaction is a lot of fans are like, oh my gosh, what are we as Minnesota sports fans, because it's been so long since we've seen men's championship success. Shout out Lynx, holding it down for the last 30 years here in the Twin Cities. But we get attached to good and very good, and we get scared about the potential leap and the risk of doing something great because we don't want to lose what we have. And 3 different times, Tim Connelly has gone kind of into the uncomfortable zone. Hey, this is like 5 years ago. This is a 46-win team that went to the playoffs for the first time in a long time. Tim Connelly comes in, takes the job. 5 minutes later, trades half that playoff roster and a bunch of first-round picks for Rudy Gobert. And people are like, what are you doing? Were you sent here to sabotage? Are you like a mole for the Nuggets? And it took 1.5 years because they took a step back in that first year. Western Conference Finals, best defensive team in the NBA. Anthony Edwards gets to play these meaningful games deep into May as a young player. Okay, all right, what next? You got to keep riding this nucleus, right? Tim Conley comes along and says, nope, I'm on my way to Cat's house right now. We're trading him to the Knicks on the eve of the season, basically. And so he does it again. And don't forget, this last summer, for anyone that thinks the Wolves front office chose to just run this team back after going to the Western Conference Finals, right? That's the logical move. Western Conference Finals again, run it back. That's what they did. And here they are outside of Nickeil Alexander-Walker. That's not what they did. They had a deal, as you mentioned earlier, in place and agreed upon with the Phoenix Suns for Kevin Durant. That was reportedly a done deal. And we don't know exactly who was going out from the Wolves, but it was a lot. Like, it was probably a Julius. I don't think it was going to be Jaden, but it was going to be some big pieces. And it was Kevin Durant who said, and he doesn't have a no trade clause, so all parties could have said, sorry, dude, you're going to walk the skyways. But it was the third time that Tim Conley, since taking this job, said, we got a good thing going. I'm gonna hit the eject button because it's not good enough to win a championship. And I can't imagine if he felt that way back in July, he probably feels that way right now going into this trade deadline. It's a really good team, but can we win a championship? And I think Tim Conley would say no right now.
I would also add his last year in Denver, they traded out Gary Harris, starting shooting guard, first round pick, RJ Hampton, and 2 firsts to get Aaron Gordon. Like, this guy, you're right. Like, although at his press conferences, he'll say trading human beings is gross. Like, he's not afraid to make these swings. And like, that's, again, like, that is what he's going to have to mull over. I just think it would be to me as a risk averse, like when I'm playing NBA 2K and I'm making my trades, it is very risk adverse. It's like Leonard Miller for
second round pick.
Right. Like, Miller. You know what? I'm pretty good at the game. You know what? I'll just, my talent, their talent, we'll grow this together. Like, it would be a risky move because you're putting a lot of faith in a dude in his mid 30s that has had a pretty extensive injury history. But the ceiling of having 2 of the top 7 players in the league is it's there is no ceiling. Like, that is stuff that, like, you look at like LeBron and Wade type of stuff where it doesn't happen often. And when it does happen, you normally win multiple rings because in a playoff series, you're not playing a ton of guys anyways.
Yeah. You're playing like 7. I mean, Chris Finch would love to play a 6-man rotation in the playoffs.
Mike will play 40 minutes if they get Giannis. I'm just going to caution everyone. Mike will be playing 40 minutes on crutches, probably.
Well, to put a bow on the Tim Garrison trade machine idea that I threw out there. So in the end, the Wolves' new rotation. So they're giving up Rudy. They're giving up Julius. They're giving up Jaden. Dillingham goes out. I think Leonard Miller goes out. And then like 7 second-round picks. Just a lot of things going out, but not everything goes out. Like, so you would have Giannis and Miles Turner and Colin Sexton somewhere in there. If this was the trade, and you would keep Dante DiVincenzo at what, $12 million for the next couple of years. Naz, I think Naz or Jaden would still be on the team.
Yep.
And I think there's a way where Yohan Beranger is probably still on the team. So if you can keep one of Naz or Jaden and Yohan Beranger, and you're getting more rotation pieces than just Giannis. But I've seen a couple iterations where like Drew Holiday comes from Portland in some of these iterations. There is a path to having like 8 very good rotation players, and then you're kind of hoping for TJ Shannon's foot to get better at some point, and maybe there's a buyout market that you can tap into at some point too.
Phil, I'm going to throw us over to an ad read. When we come back, I do want to talk, the conspiracy theory that who was it here? Was it Nat? I think it was Nat that said maybe Tim Conley is just placing some calls to motivate the guys. Or no, Sideline Vibes said that. let's talk about like this Wolves current win streak, because like it has been fun. But first, we do have bills to pay, so we should probably actually do ad reads. Well, hello. Thank you, live stream Andrew. This is Ad Read Andrew. And today we have Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, the presenting sponsor for the Missing Links podcast. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling strives to inspire people to follow their ideas, working with respect and understanding to create a quality, tailored result. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, located in Blaine and serving in the North Metro area, is here to help you with your building and remodeling needs. I can say personally, thanks to Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, I have a beautiful deck in my backyard and countless projects that I started, they finished. Get started on your new deck or remodel today by calling Isaac at 763-710-5686. And we're back with another ad read. This time for Pence Homes, the presenting sponsor of Hitting the Hardwood Network. From the best tools and technology to transparency throughout the entire process, Nate Pence and the Pence Homes team is the top choice for buyers, sellers, and is proud to support you and your home ownership goals. Get started today by calling 612-308-1122 or by emailing info@pencehomes.com. Just one housekeeping thing. Nate Pence is still doing a food collection drive for people in the Minneapolis, St. Paul, Twin Cities area and suburbs. Any donations, money, food, canned food, boxed goods, or if you just want to help and be a driver, they are looking for people to help out and make those food deliveries as well as shopping, just to kind of help out the neighbors that are maybe afraid to leave their home, maybe just not having the financial income right now. If you do want to help with that at all, info@Pence Homes, you can always email that. Nate does have social media as well, Blue Sky, Twitter, and Instagram. Feel free to reach out to him and ask how you can help. Phil, I do want to just recite some things off for you because advanced analytics got updated after this game. And after we just talked for 27 minutes about Giannis trades, this current Timberwolves team is 5th in the Western Conference, 30-19. They are 6th in net rating, 7th in offensive rating, 4th in defense, 5th in true shooting, and they're the 8th fastest paced team in the league. I mean, when you just look at the raw numbers, like this is a team that is, as constructed, should be a borderline championship team. I don't necessarily feel that way because Oklahoma City, the path that they're laying for themselves, where they're probably going to have to go through Houston, Denver, Spurs, and OKC to get to the finals, where, you get to the finals and it might be Boston with Tatum back or a really good Detroit team. Like, do you kind of feel that same way, that there's like just this weird dichotomy with this team where you look at the numbers and they look like a really good team? But then you kind of start thinking about it and it's just weird.
Well, I think you have to draw a line across, there's a championship line and then there's really, really good teams that could win a couple playoff series line. And that is a distinction that's really important. I mean, you think about this, think about this. The Timberwolves, in terms of number of series needed to be won to win a championship, as far as they've gone the last couple of years and as deep into May as they've been playing, they only checked 50% of the necessary postseason series win boxes to get to a championship. Like you still, and by the way, they got beat in 5 games. Those 5-game series were fairly competitive and some close losses, and it wasn't like they got blown out of the water against the Mavericks and OKC, but
they weren't close though.
Yeah, I mean, after watching both series, it was pretty apparent, they're definitely a level or two behind that version of the Mavericks at the time and then the current version of Oklahoma City. And so you're 100% right. This is one of the better Wolves teams in franchise history. And at times they play up to an even higher level than maybe where their net rating is and their offensive and defensive rating. And I think this is also the first team in the Tim Conley, Anthony Edwards era that is equally good offensively as it is defensively, because the year that they were the number one defense weren't they like 16th or 18th in offensive rating? And then last year they took a little bit of a jump up in offensive rating, but then the defensive rating went from being number one elite to like fringe top five ish. And so this is probably the most complete team in terms of the metrics that they've had since Tim Connolly. I'm not saying they're going to finish with the same number of wins as a couple of these teams, but I keep going back to, are they a championship team? Is this formula centered around Rudy Gobert and Julius Randle? I still think even after watching tonight, Julius is a tough fit against OKC and their size, and he loves to play that bully ball, put your shoulder into a guy and back him down. And as he's doing that, he's looking up at Hartenstein and Chet, and they're just towering over his little, mid-range fadeaways. So, yeah, they're really good. I am so skeptical about this team winning a championship, and that's where the trade market is just so intriguing the next week.
Yeah, to me, it's the path they're giving themselves. Like this Wolves team is like, the vibes are high in the locker room. Like, this is a fun team to cover. Everyone's in a good mood almost all the time. Ant is the leader of that good vibes crew. Like, it's not like a woe is me type of group, but they just, whether it's Finch saying they get bored in games and then they end up dropping them, whether it's the clutch time stuff where they don't have that table setter that can kind of settle everyone down. Like Mike was that 2 years ago, and last year he just can't at the same level this year. Like, there's just these weird things with this team that make me think they're probably going to finish as the 5 or 6 seed. And if you're setting up a playoff like run for yourselves where it is Houston, then Denver, then Oklahoma City, like those are 2 of those series is going to go 7. And I mean, we kind of saw in the Dallas series after they went 7 against the Nuggets. I mean, they were just out of gas that first game and got blown out. You're playing from behind right away, and they just couldn't catch up to it. And Oklahoma City, I mean, tonight's win is really encouraging. J-Dub, Caruso, both out there. I mean, this was a shell of their team. It's just different when they have all of these wing defenders that they can throw at you. It's a really tough ask for them to win a championship, like as they're constructed, because it's just kind of clunky. Which, if they were the 2 seed and their first round matchup was against the Clippers, who are playing good, like, let's be real, Kawhi's been awesome, but it's still the Clippers, then you probably feel a little bit better. Like, all right, they can get out of the Clippers in 5. They have 2 tough Western series, then a championship. But like right now, they're just not doing themselves any favors, which that's to me more than the Julius side of it is what's, I think, holding them back quite a bit. Is just like you're almost intentionally at this point making your road higher. Cole adds, we need Kyle Anderson back. I will say, like, he is still brought up weekly by this team, and he hasn't played here in 2 years. So I would not be shocked at all if he is just shows up and he has his locker back in the next couple weeks here.
I can see that being a buyout situation. I think another thing to note going forward here too, and he wasn't active tonight. Conley was that like a rest night, or what was the official ailment for Mike Conley tonight?
It's just a rest night, second of a back-to-back, which
4 and 5
I don't know.
games,
It was kind of refreshing seeing a lot of Bones. Like, I do think Bones gives him some juice.
He does, and I am a Bones Highland stan, and his little 3-point flame shooting exhibition in the first half was like a huge jolt and helped kind of widen that lead, and he gives you that, and he's been mostly I'll stop short of saying a revelation off the bench, but he's filled the role that you wanted Rob Dillingham to fill, and it just happens to be a little bit of an older, more experienced former first-round pick that was close to being deemed a bust. But my point about Mike Conley is, if you're going to win a championship, no team that aspires to win a championship in 2026 is seriously playing this version of Mike Conley 15, 20, 23 minutes. I mean, it is, and I hate even saying this because he's been literally one of the greatest trades in Timberwolves history. D'Lo for Conley and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. And just the cohesion that Mike has brought, the work that he does behind the scenes as a pseudo assistant coach. He is right there with Anthony Edwards behind the scenes and showing him things and just being a guide in his ear. And also, since the middle of November, so we now have a 2.5 month sample on this. Mike Conley, who remains a key part of Chris Finch's rotation on a team that aspires to win a championship, is shooting 27% from the field since the middle of November, and like 26% or 25% from 3-point range. His only asset right now on the court is that he doesn't turn the ball over still somehow. Like he just does. He still is very, very serious about not
turnover ratio.
Yes. But you can't be, with how thin you are, you can't be running him out there for these chunks that they are. And I get it. They don't have a ton of ball handlers that they trust to not turn the ball over, but he doesn't provide offense. He doesn't hit open threes anymore either. And he did hit a couple the other night, and maybe there's a hot streak coming, but I just unless you replace him with a Kobe White at minimum, or if Bones Highland takes another step forward, but it's tough. Like it's a tough path to get back to where you were if you're still leaning on this version of Conley.
I mean, this is how it goes with point guards his age. Like, it's just done. Like, Darren Williams goes to Cleveland, it's over.
Kyle Lowry kind of got that way.
Kyle Lowry, it's just over. I mean, Steve Nash goes to the Lakers, it's over. Like, even like the Hall of Fame, Jason Kidd goes to the Knicks, it's over. Like, when you hit that mileage mark that your body has as a point guard, it's just kind of done, which I think the Wolves are trying to give Mike every opportunity to kind of prove that he hasn't hit that mileage mark, but he hasn't been able to prove it. Like his defense, not great. I will, to Mike's credit, I will say when he gets cooked on defense, he directs the person into Rudy or he directs them sideline. And like when he gets cooked, it doesn't look as bad as other guys, but like it's happening. The lateral quickness just isn't there. And on offense, like the shot is just gone. The floater is gone. The Rudy lobs are gone because no one's afraid of the floater. The 3-pointer is gone. The mid-range kind of stop on a dime pull up is gone. Like it's really hard because Mike is a guy that is probably going to have his number retired by Memphis. I mean, he is a guy that is going to go down as like one of the best and one of the last like pure point guards in the NBA. Yeah. But like this is how it happens for point guards. And I do think the Wolves tried to insulate themselves from that of like, let's draft Rob high. That's the heir apparent. Let's bring in Bones. Tim knows him from Denver. Like Bones rapped at him in his draft combine thing. Let's get him in here. It's great. And then even like TJ is a pretty good like ball handling like forward. Julius can take the juice sometimes. Like they tried to insulate it and it's almost like everything failed, right? Like Rob's just not good. TJ can't really go with his left hand. Bones has been up and down. And this is kind of where you get when those draft picks don't work out and you're putting so much faith on a guy like Mike, which I guess to just finish my thought, like I'll be honest, I don't think Mike's in a playoff rotation. Like I think when
he can't be.
I mean, we saw Finch bench D'Lo for Jordan McLaughlin. Like Finch isn't gonna play favorites when it comes to the playoff time. It's just I agree with you. If they don't get something, which I've been a little less like they need a point guard, and I've been a little more of like they just need some juice off the bench, like a Quentin Grimes, a Buddy Hield, someone that can just hit some shots for them and keep that offense just humming. But like if they don't get that at this deadline, it's a 6.5 man rotation, which there's not a lot of teams that win a ring on a 6.5 man rotation.
Yeah, you're just and then you compare that depth to the OKCs at full strength and Denver full strength and San Antonio full strength, and you're going to be right back to the drawing board this summer trying to figure out, okay, what's the chess move here. And one last thought, like just on the on the trade front too, because it's all just kind of funneling into next week and or in the summer here. I have heard the argument like if you make a trade for Giannis and do something crazy, then everybody better be ready because it's championship or bust. And there's no getting around that if you don't win a championship then in that 2 or 3 year window, then it's a failure. And to that I say, well, yeah, that should be the goal for a team that has gone to the Western Conference Finals in back-to-back years. And also, even without the Giannis part of it, you've got Anthony Edwards on your team, man. Like, you got one of the 6 or 9 best players in the world. On some nights, might be one of the 4 best players in the world. That's championship or bust, too. Like, just having him, we already lived it with the Kevin Garnett era, those of us that are old enough to go back to, like, mid-90s through the early part of the 2000s. You had that dude, one of the greatest players in the history of the NBA for, like, 12 years, and only made one significant run over that period. Like, when you have a player like that, it should be championship or bust. So I just think fans, the organization, don't fear that level of expectation and potential success. And I think, to go back to the beginning of the podcast, the front office has to decide if we want the smoke, the championship level smoke. Can we get it with this current team with maybe a marginal tweak? And if the answer is yes, all right, then your answer next week is easy. Go make a marginal tweak and see what happens, and then reevaluate in the summer. But if the answer is no, and you have a chance to get Giannis, I know it's hard. Like, oh my gosh, what if it doesn't work? What if it does? What if it does? That's another question that we can all ask ourselves.
To your first point, the Wolves, the Ringer just came out with their top 100, which that isn't the end all be all. The Wolves have 5 players in the top 100, and Ant is 7th. Like, you got that dude, and you have 4 guys in the top 100 around him. Like, the championship or bust, even though I don't think this team is a championship team this year, like, that is the mentality you have to have when you have that type of talent around him. Like, you have the defensive player of the year around him. You have Julius, borderline all NBA. You have Jaden, an all defensive team. Nas might win 6th man of the year again. Like, it is kind of that time, to your point. And to your other point, like, yeah, if you look at this roster and you say, this can't get it done this year, then, like, why not? Right? Like, why not start the project early and see what it gets you this season? Which, to your point again, that's scary for Wolves fans, Vikings fans, Twins fans. Like, hasn't happened a lot that those things work out for this franchise. But, you know, you got that guy in Ant. You kind of got to treat it like it's go time all the time. Nat says to take the leap literally. Yes, to take the leap literally. Phil, on that note, though, I appreciate you coming on, man. Anything you want to plug, promote, causes that you've been helping out with, the floor is yours, good sir.
Yeah, I think we're just people in Minnesota, people in Minneapolis right now, and the surrounding Twin Cities are going through it right now. And not to sit on a soapbox here, but I would say maybe spend a little less time online and a little more time with actual human beings, being there for human beings, being there for businesses that need support, and being there for each other. And in terms of this Wolves community, we're doing our best on Flagrant Howls to be there for Wolves fans and entertain you guys the way that we know how. So if you haven't checked out Flagrant Howls before, check us out Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, with some other episodes sprinkled in as well. And I'm sure we'll be speculating recklessly over the next few days as the trade deadline nears. So appreciate you, Andrew. You do such an awesome job covering this team and the links and putting out great content on the podcast, on social media. And I know that, like, the people that consume this podcast are already fans of you, so I'm kind of preaching to the choir here, but this dude works his butt off to give you guys insider videos and quotes and content, and he has gained the respect of a lot of people who've been doing this for a long time, full time and careers. And so I just want to shout you out and tell you you're doing an awesome job, and looking forward to chopping it up again on a podcast sometime soon.
Absolutely. And thank you. I mean, as someone who used to listen to Mackey and Judd on 1500, means a ton, because been following you guys for probably going on a decade now. So thank you, sir. Everyone who tuned in here, if you do want to catch the full version of the podcast live stream, whatever this is, it does post on YouTube and lives forever on X as soon as we end the stream here. If you can wait until a little bit later this morning, it does get posted wherever you get your podcasts at 7 a.m. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and we'll be back after Memphis.